Okay, today we're going to continue Chapter 10 with Section 3, Special Products of Polynomials. If you're a kind of person that likes shortcuts, then this lesson is definitely for you. The object of today's lesson is to multiply polynomials, certain kinds anyways, without showing any work whatsoever. So major shortcuts. Here's what we're talking about. If we recognize that a polynomial fits this pattern, that is, it's being multiplied by itself or being squared, then the result will always be this pattern, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. That is that you square the first term, you also square the second term, and in the middle we're going to have the product of the two terms doubled, multiplied by 2. We'll see how that works here quickly. Another pattern is called the sum and difference pattern. So, when we notice that we have the same first term and the second terms are opposites, we're always going to have this pattern as their product. A squared minus b squared. That is, you square the first term, you square the second term, and it's always going to be subtraction. We'll see how this works. So we're being asked to find the product of these two binomials. If we know the pattern and we recognize it, it should be this quick. 9b squared minus 25. And you might be asking yourself, okay, how did he do that so quickly? Let me show you. First of all, I recognize that this fits the sum and difference pattern. A minus b times a plus b, or a plus b times a minus b, because order in multiplication does not matter. But 3b is the first term of both binomials, and negative 5 and positive 5, opposites, are the second term of the binomials. So when that's the case, we should always get a squared minus b squared, like I showed you on the first slide. In this case, a is 3b, and b is 5. So all I did in my head was 3b squared is 9b squared, and 5 squared is 25. It's always subtraction. The idea is to not show any of the work in red. That's all that goes on in your head. Here's another one. Again, if I recognize the pattern and I have it memorized, I can do it very quickly. Done. Again, you're probably wondering how I did it so quickly. Well, looking back at slide 1, that's got our special product patterns on it, I recognize that this is the square of a binomial pattern. It's a binomial times itself, a plus b times a plus b, or a plus b squared. When that's the case, we're always going to end up with this pattern, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So, in this case, a is 7a. B is 2. So what I did in my head was I did 7a squared is 49a squared. A times b would be 14a. I doubled it to get 28a. And b squared, or 2 squared, is 4. Excuse me. One more of those. This is the square of a binomial pattern. 2p squared is 4p squared. 2p times 5q is 10pq. Doubled, it's 20pq. It's actually negative 20pq, because 2p times negative 5q is negative 10pq. Doubled is negative 20pq. And negative 5q squared is 25q squared. One more time, here's the work I didn't show on that. And again, we don't want to have to show this. It's the square of a binomial pattern, so it should fit a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So it'll be 2p squared. That's where we got the 4p squared. 2 times a times b. That's where I got negative 20pq. And negative 5q squared. That's where I got 25q squared. Remember, I don't want to show any of that work in the red. The idea is to do that all in my head. Why don't you guys try this one on your own? Press pause now. And when you're all done, press play, and you'll see my work and explanation. Okay, since you're all done, this is the sum and difference pattern. So our work should be that quick. It should just be a squared minus b squared. We've got the same term leading off each of these binomials, 2x, 2x. And then we've got opposites at the end of the two binomials, negative 1 and positive 1. That fits the sum and difference pattern. So the answer pattern should be a squared minus b squared, or 2x squared minus 1 squared. 2x squared is 4x squared. 1 squared is 1. I'm crossing all this work because remember the idea is to not show any of it. Try example 2. Press pause because I'm going to do it as well. Okay, here's the answer, number 2. This is the square of a binomial pattern. All I'm doing is recognizing that I'm multiplying a binomial by itself, 3x plus 5y times 3x plus 5y. When that's the case, we should get this pattern. And with this specific binomial, we're talking about 3x as a and 5y as b. So when I originally did the problem, I did 3x times 3x, which is 9x squared. I did 3x times 5y, which is 15xy, but doubled it because of the 2 here. And I did 5y times 5y, or 5y squared, which is 25y squared. That's it for today's lesson. I'll see you in class tomorrow so we can try some of these.